Great. Okay, so welcome back. This is the third installment of Conversations with Marléne and Pascale. And we're following on this week, thinking about what it means to have a successful life. So it's the new year. Everybody's making lots of New Year's resolutions or intentions. If you haven't watched our previous session for the new year about resolutions and intentions, please do watch that. And for anybody who doesn't know, my name is Pascale Lane. I am a relationship and confidence coach, and I work with women to help them improve their relationships and confidence and create the life that they truly deserve. And I'm joined by my good friend Marléne, who is going to introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Marléne Rose Shaw, and I'm a therapist and a coach and a self-help author. And I help people with relationships and confidence, and specifically in the area of stopping people pleasing, setting boundaries, being able to speak up, and just to lead a more purposeful life.
Excellent. Excellent. And so a purposeful life, a successful life, a life that they truly deserve. I mean, this is why you and I gel so well together, Marléne, isn't it? It's because we have a lot of synergy because we share the same passion, calling, however you call it. So, like I said, last week we were thinking about intentions for the new year. And the conversations that we've had in between now and then have been around, what is a successful life, Marléne? How would you describe a successful life?
I was thinking about, our last recording and how we were talking about the difference between goals and intentions and New Year's resolutions, and this time of the year where people reflect and think about what they want for their life, and it sort of occurred to me that actually, what does that really mean? It can be easy to get caught up in this sort of, I have to be this certain way, and I have to achieve all these certain things and follow this specific path because that's what other people do. And actually, it made me think about, well, what is a successful life? And I think it's about being happy, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, I remember I was watching The Greatest Showman last night, annoying my neighbours, having it on absolute full blast because I love it so much. And I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, or if anybody watching is familiar with it. But there's a song that plays in it by I can't remember what her name is, the opera singer, and she's talking about everything that she gains, it will never be enough. It's a beautiful song. I love it. And I can remember having this conversation with my brother several years ago about always striving for more, and how we both really related to, when will we ever know that we've got enough? When will we ever feel that we have everything that we want? Will we always be striving for more? And what is that about? And that, I think that is, for me, that's really crucial, because there's a really fine line, isn't there? And we know this when we talk about confidence and we talk about mindset and fixed and growth mindset. How do we know when we have enough? I'm a very hungry person. I am always striving for more. And on one hand, I say people like us, because I'm not unique in that at all. I think that hunger is good. It's positive. It keeps me working on my personal development. It keeps me moving forward. It keeps me growing. But I suppose there's also something there about, is there a time, when will I be satisfied with what I have? When will I be able to sit back and think it's good enough as it is, like slow down a little bit? And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Mhm. And that's what I'm thinking about this time of the year. Although it's good to stop and reflect. It's good to plan our year ahead. But do we have to have these sort of, I guess it's the energy behind it, isn't it? Because there's there's one part of all of us that is the soul part that says, I'm here. Wow, how fantastic. I've got this life. I want to make the best out of it. I really want to enjoy it. But then there's this other kind of human part that says, oh, if I don't strive and achieve all these goals, then I'm not doing, I'm not enough, or I'm not doing enough, or I'm not doing as much as other people. And I guess it's just about really recognizing the energy of that. And sometimes the success is in doing less. Sometimes the success comes from actually allowing ourselves to just be and appreciate ourselves in the moment and our lives in the moment and our surroundings in the moment, and just to stop, rather than this sort of striving and running towards something all the time. Because it's like a goalpost that we keep running towards and it keeps shifting. So we're always going to be running. And
Yeah,
actually,
yeah,
is that successful? Well, there's success in expansion, definitely. I think, we have been given a wonderful gift of life, and it seems like an act of gratitude to say thank you for that. I'm going to make the absolute best of it, but not the pressure, not the self-pressure. And it's maybe there's something about recognizing when we're in one and when we're in the other.
yeah. I mean, I think a couple of things were running through my mind as you were talking there. There's a very Buddhist approach, isn't there, to being very happy and fulfilled and mindful and present, um, with with not with nothing per se, but without the material gains, without all of the other stuff. So we've got success in actualization,
Mm.
in how we are and how we feel about ourselves. And then there's success in the material form of what we have in terms of our homes and our careers and our financial stability. And the two are linked but are very different at the same
Mm.
time. And so I was thinking about that, but I was also actually thinking about, my main driver will always be my children, my family.
Mm.
And so, one can have many riches but either not have a family, or not be able to provide that. Because something that I'm always very, very, very mindful of for myself is presence, and actually being with my children, in my heart, not just as a physical entity in the room. And so when I look at them, I feel like I am very successful. Not always, don't get me wrong, like I don't get it right all the time, but far from it. But I will be able to measure my success into how well they are as young adults, as young children going into their adulthood, and whether or not so they are a measure of success for me, as well as my career and my relationships and my business and my bank account and all the rest of it. So it's I think it's a massive question, a
Mm.
successful life. And I suppose there's something there then for me around balance. And I mean, being able to balance all of that, which is tricky. I
Yeah.
think.
And I think it comes back to this awareness of what lens are we looking through this particular experience that we're having today? Are we looking through the lens of, actually, I'm being present, I'm being in the moment, this is my success right now, it's just being and being content and looking at our, as you say, I'm a parent too, looking at family. And then at other times, am I looking through the lens of actually I'm really enjoying doing this, building this therapy practice or whatever it is we happen to be doing, anybody who's watching whatever you're doing, and actually being aware of where we're coming from. Are we coming from a place of, me, I'm always talking about, are we coming from love or are we coming from fear? Are we coming from a place of love? Are we really loving what we're doing in a sense of gratitude and expansion, or are we coming from a place of fear and have tos and musts? And I think it's about identifying that. If we can identify where we're coming from, that helps with the balance, and we can be successful in all the different areas then.
Yeah. So balance is always key, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Balance.
How do we find that awareness though, Pascale? That's the point. It's all very well me identifying that and saying that, but for anybody who's listening, how do we find that? How do we know where we're coming from? That's the question.
Well, I say to all of my clients that awareness, I think, is always the first. I mean, I think if one has awareness of these things, then I mean, bit cliche, I know, but you actually are halfway there. But it's not just about awareness. I think it's about being honest with yourself. I'm very good at talking the talk, not always great at walking the walk. So I can, I'm still in the early part of my career as a coach. I'm coming up to 5 years being self-employed now, but I think that I mean, I've learned a lot and I've done a lot, but I think in terms of running your own business, that's still infancy, and I have a young family. So keeping the balance about not working too hard, and like I said to you, that thing about being present with them is an ongoing, I don't think battle makes my kind of tummy wobble a little bit, but an ongoing battle, because I can get very, very, very focused. I'm very driven, very, very driven. And so I can think that I'm being present. I can think that I'm in balance. I can tell myself it's okay. I'm doing this, a way that feels okay to me. But then I can, like, I burnt out at the end of last year, and just was ill after ill after ill. And I know that's because I was kidding myself. I wasn't in balance. I wake up thinking about work. I go to sleep thinking about work. So even though I'm working very hard to be time management and not too focused on the business, my mind does its own thing sometimes. So I think it's about having that awareness and that honesty with yourself, because balance is going to mean different things. It's going to be a balanced life for you, and a successful life for you is going to be very different to what it is for me, what it is going to be to the people listening to this as well. And so I suppose it's about what kind of sits right with you.
I mean, one thing, and you're so right about self-awareness, and one thing I focus on. In fact, it's one of the questions in my last book, the 7 Questions book, and one of those questions is, how am I feeling right now? Because our feelings tell us, our feelings guide us, and I guess for to help anyone to gain that awareness, it's about helping them to get used to asking that question, how am I feeling? And as you say, you can kid yourself when it comes to overworking, but when you really stop and really, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling about this? It's a very good guide of where you're coming from, whether you're coming from pressurizing yourself or whether you're coming from a joyful place of expansion. And it really, that voice, that inner voice, I always say our inner voice has our best interests at heart. It will, our emotions, our feelings have our best interests at heart. They will always tell us the truth. They'll never lie to us. So I guess there's something about getting used to listening, tuning into our feelings, isn't there? Because that is the guide. Where am I coming from right now? Am I really, following this path because it's a beautiful path of expansion, or am I following it because there's this sort of heavy have to, must going on here? Or is there a sort of, I'm so driven that I'm not stopping to focus on self-care as well? That's the other part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that we've got a whole other video that we can do on this, to be honest with you, because I think it's so and again, coming back to your expertise, I think we can also think there about people pleasing and boundaries,
which
kind of ties in very much with that as well.
What do I really want? What is a successful life? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for other people? Am I being driven by a fear of being judged by others? There's a whole lot more we can talk about.
Absolutely. There's always so much more we can talk about, Marléne.
What year is it now? 2032. How long have we been sat here?
Fabulous. We'll be sat here. Well, we won't be sat exactly here. I won't be sat here. God forbid. I'll be in sunnier climates by then. But in 2032, and we can recall the day that we said in jest about that. Fab. Okay. Well, I mean, maybe that's a good place to wrap up then, and we can continue that on our next session. How does that feel?
Let's do that. So I'd like to say something to anybody who's listening, who's been thinking about New Year and goals and setting resolutions and intentions and all that planning. Fantabulous. But just make sure you're being kind to yourself and accepting of yourself, and do it in a loving way.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. And on a slightly different note, I'm thinking also I want to encourage people to like our YouTube channel and to subscribe to our YouTube channel if they want to be getting regular updates of our weekly sessions.
Yeah, click that button with the little bell thingy, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, and I will sort out a link when I upload these. I'll sort out a link of how to do that. I couldn't quite figure it out.
It's actually good because I have subscribed to a few things on YouTube, and it is actually quite helpful to see it come up on the screen with the little, you've got a notification of this, and I think, oh, I must look at that. I forgot about it, or it's a good reminder. So it is good to do that, to subscribe to YouTube things, I think.
Great. Okay, wonderful. And of course, if anybody wants to reach out to either Marléne or myself about working together, or just to have a chat and find out, what how we can help, then please do either comment or message us directly. And there's links, isn't there, Marléne, to your website and my website in the blurb. So
get in touch. We can help you change your life.
Oh, absolutely, we can. Absolutely. Live the life you truly deserve. Fabulous. Thank you, Marléne. Catch up with you soon.
Bye.